What's going on YouTube? I'm your host Joss. Welcome back to Top 10 Beyond the Screen. And make sure you follow the BTS team on social media. All of our links are down below. You can find me on Instagram as well. Come say hi. Don't be shy. As for today's list, we are talking all about transformations. That can mean a lot of things. Good transformations, not so good transformations, transformations by choice, or maybe even for a job. There is really too many to name. So how about I name 10 of them with today's list of top 10 biggest celebrity transformations that you won't believe. Starting off our list at number 10 is Matthew McConaughey. His transformation happened when he took on his role as Ron Woodroof in the movie Dallas Buyers Club. The drama history movie came out back in 2014 and had McConaughey playing a Texan horse rider who was diagnosed with HIV and given 30 days to live. After being nominated an Oscar for his incredible performance, he opened up about the side effects he had after the drastic weight loss he did for the role. He shed a total of 47 pounds, which is a lot when you're not a big guy to begin with. His weight loss transformation alone had him looking completely different. He confessed that he chewed a lot of ice on set while filming so that he could remain that thin throughout the movie. The ice just kind of acted like a distraction to keep him from eating real food. He lost 47 pounds in just 4 months and says that by the end of filming, his body was basically withering away. He says he lost energy from the neck down, but found he had a lot of energy neck up, saying that he only needed 3 hours of sleep or less a day. He was very alert, almost hyper, he said, but his body itself had no energy at all, as you can imagine. You can only imagine what a few hours of sleep a night and minimal calories will do to one's body. McConaughey says he wanted to portray his character in the most realistic way possible and that he's very proud of his performance regardless of the side effects. But don't worry, he is looking back to normal. He went to a nutritionist afterwards to help with his recovery. Next up at number 9 is Farrah Abraham. She was cast on MTV show 16 and Pregnant when she was just that, 16 and pregnant. And then she went on to be one of the OGs on the show Teen Mom. She was in the spotlight for years with her little daughter Sophia, which is why fans were shocked when her image changed so drastically. In 2010, she had her first big surgery done when she had breast implants. It was only noticeable because she was always a very petite girl, so they definitely stuck out on her tiny little frame. Like there was no hiding it. In 2012, she got more plastic surgery done, but this time on her face. She got a rhinoplasty and chin implant, which reports say cost $16,000. 2013 though was the year when her image and also her reputation began to change as she got involved in the industry, promoting her adult film at the Gentlemen's Club in Las Vegas and also a personal tape leaked onto the internet. She also got involved in the sex toy industry where she created her very own line, Mom of the Year award, obviously causing a lot of controversy since she has a young daughter and starred on the show Teen Mom. In 2015, the star went to get more permanent lip fillers done and she had an allergic reaction which left her looking like Donald Duck. No offense, she posted the pictures, they were huge. Since then she has had countless amount of procedures done, her breasts again, her lips again, other face injections, bum implants, and bum fillers. She actually goes on Instagram Live when she gets her bum done and she has her little daughter Sophia in the room. I've been on them, these are facts. She looks like a completely different person than her before pictures and bless her daughter's soul, I just hope she realizes that she doesn't have to go through what her mom did. For the record, I did not get bum fillers. When I said I was on it, I meant I was on Farrah's live streams. Swiping the number 8 spot is Jared Leto. He has lost significant weight for roles in some of his movies before, such as his role in the Dallas Buyers Club, but it was gaining weight for his role in Chapter 27 that really did a number on the actor. He gained a total of 67 pounds, which made him look hardly recognizable. The movie came out in 2007 where Leto took on the role of Mark Chaplin, the man who shot and killed John Lennon. Leto admitted in interviews that he gained so much weight so quickly that he actually suffered from gout. Gout is a form of arthritis caused by excess uric acid in the bloodstream. The more fat, the more uric acid. Leto told LA Times, I quote, "Towards the end of the shoot, one of the glaring issues was the pain I had in my feet. I had a wheelchair because it was so painful. My body was in shock from the amount of weight I gained. It took about a year to get back to the place that I felt semi-normal. I don't know if I'll ever be back to the place I was physically." Talk about having some serious dedication to your craft. People raved about his performance though, so I guess it was all worth it. And at number 7 is James Charles. At just 17 years old, he made history in 2016 for becoming the first male ambassador for CoverGirl. He started out as just a regular kid posting videos on YouTube where he performed funny little skits with his friends in hopes of going viral one day. But then his life changed when he started to put on makeup and he was soon being recognized for his makeup skills and talent. His life changed changed when he got the call to be the new face of CoverGirl after his Instagram pictures got noticed. He'd only been posting his makeup looks on Instagram for a year, and he got a call one morning after a set of his pictures went viral. He soon appeared on Ellen explaining that he was only 12 years old when he came out as gay to his parents, who have been incredibly supportive about it. He quickly rose to fame and is now one of the world's biggest beauty YouTubers, which makes it hard to hide the drastic transformation he's had. However, he doesn't really try to hide it. He actually loves looking back at old pictures and seeing how far he has come and how different he looks. He tweeted a before and after picture and captioned it, "Thank God for braces, scissors, better taste in clothing, lip filler, makeup, and a little Facetune." He admits to having lip fillers, but is often accused of having butt fillers and other work done too, which he denies. Coming in at number 6 is Kylie Jenner. Shocker. It's hard to remember what she looked like before because her transformation came at such a young age that I almost can't picture her without plastic surgery. She's the world's youngest self-made billionaire with one of the biggest reality families in the world, so it's not shocking that she's had some work done. She used to be a shy teenager when we first met her on the reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians. The biggest change on her, as everyone knows, has been her lips. Over time, we have watched them get bigger and bigger to a point where people started to create the Kylie Lip Challenge online. People would use a cup to suction their lips to leave them looking all swollen and puffy. I don't know the point of it. No, I never did it. Weird. At first, she denied the claims and said she uses makeup to make them appear bigger, but then she finally admitted to getting lip fillers, which we obviously already knew. Her lips aren't the only thing that have gotten bigger though. We don't want to be creepy, but we can't help but notice her big butt and her big boobs, especially for a soon-to-be 22-year-old. She denies having any plastic surgery done, but celebrity dermatologist Dr. Tabsum says she has had her hips and butt done for sure. She was also seen promoting butt and breast plumping products on her Instagram back in 2015. As for her tiny little waist, she uses a waist trainer, which she has no problem flaunting about online. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Jeffree Star. He is another famous YouTuber that is among the most popular beauty gurus in the world. He's a talented makeup artist, a YouTube personality, a model, a musician, and is also famous for his cosmetic line called Jeffree Star Cosmetics. He says that makeup all began in high school because his mom allowed him to wear it. After high school, he moved to LA and started to book any music, makeup, and modeling jobs that he could get his hands on. He says he used to use fake IDs and dress in mini skirts and heels. Jeffree often gets asked if he is transgendered because he dresses like a girl and is probably more feminine than me, to be honest. He does not call himself a woman or transgender and explained that he is just simply gay. When it comes to his transformation in appearance, he is not ashamed to admit that he has gone under the knife. He even filmed one of his lip procedures and posted it to his YouTube channel. It's pretty gory, but if you want, you can go watch it. People from his hometown in Orange County probably wouldn't even recognize him now if he wasn't in the spotlight that he is. He honestly looks completely different. Alright guys, we are number 4 with Heidi Montag. She became famous from the MTV reality show called The Hills. Since the show was a reality-based show, Heidi only played herself, which was an adorable, bubbly, and very beautiful girl. But a few seasons into the series, the young star became famous for her insane amount of plastic surgery more than anything. She shocked the world when she had 10 plastic surgeries done in just 24 hours. Not procedures, surgeries. There's a difference. It was a brutal process and she barely made it out alive, literally. She was just 23 years old when she went under the knife back in 2010, and she came out of the surgery with completely different facial features and body features, which I guess is the point. So here is a list of what she had done. A mini brow lift, Botox in the forehead and frown area, a nose job revision, a chin reduction, fat injections in the cheeks, nasolabial folds and lips, neck liposuction, ears pinned back, a breast augmentation revision, increased to a size F, liposuction on the waist, hips and inner and outer thighs, and buttock augmentation. I deserve an award for saying all of that. Her surgery made news headlines for being the most a person got done at one time. She had surgery done a few years prior, so she wasn't new to it, but nothing would prepare her for the recovery, pain, and backlash from this. During an interview with People magazine, she was asked why she did it all at once, and she replied, "That's kind of my personality, everything at once, and I just really wanted to go under anesthesia once instead of going under again and again. It felt safer to me. Unfortunately, it was anything but safe." Turns out her heart actually stopped for a minute and she was technically dead on the operation table. Heidi continued to say that the risk wasn't worth it and said she is done. I quote, "Risking my own life for vanity." She does regret her decision and calls it a huge mistake, but says it forced her to grow as a person. She hasn't had any surgery done ever since, but her transformation is still very shocking. In spot number 3 is Donatella Versace, the Italian fashion designer and current vice president of the Versace group and also its chief designer. The Versace company stakes are divided between herself, her daughter Allegra and her brother Santo Versace. The total value of the company is $1.7 billion. So needless to say, her company is a successful one. She is currently 64 years old and has never really been known for having the most natural style. As time has gone on, along with the design of her handbags, her appearance has changed also, and not in a very subtle way. Just looking at her, you would think she's gone under the knife way too many times, and you wouldn't even believe that her before picture is actually her. But she continues to deny that she has had any plastic surgery done. In 2013, during an interview with Sunday's Vogue Festival, she said, "I'm not genetically like this. I use tons of cream and take care of my hair and skin." Listen, this is not frickin' hair cream. She went on to admit that she has had Botox done on her face, but denies that she had any other work done besides that. The fashion designer explains that it takes a lot to get her well-crafted look, which is probably true, but there is no way I can believe she hasn't had any work done. No way. This is not cream. Coming in hot at number 2 is Rodrigo Alves, but likes to go by the name Human Ken doll because he literally looks just like one. A lot of young boys dream of growing up to look like their favorite superhero, but for this UK celebrity Big Brother star, his obsession was to always look like a plastic doll. His obsession went further than anyone could have ever imagined, spending a total of $883,000 on surgeries. His surgeries include hair transplant, Botox, face fillers, pec implants, fake six-pack implants, multiple nose jobs, liposuction to his jaw, fillers in his arms, calf shaping, butt lift, facelift, and rib removal. 4 ribs in total. In January of 2018, he told The Sun online that he was done with plastic surgery and was content with his final look. People are shocked when they see him, but even more shocked when they see his before picture. He says he now wants to focus on building his own brand. He said, I quote, "I now want to focus on building my brand with my style, fashion, personality, and lifestyle. That's what I want to be known for." Taking the number 1 spot on our list is Christian Bale. The actor completely transformed his body into a walking skeleton basically, and no, I am not being dramatic for once. I'm not exaggerating. He had a huge transformation for his role in The Machinist. The thriller drama came out in 2004 and followed the story of a man named Trevor Resnick who suffers from severe insomnia and psychological issues that lead to an accident. The accident ultimately leads him into a downward spiral of paranoia and delusion. In order to portray the character the way he wanted, Bale shed 62 pounds before filming. We're used to seeing people shed or gain some weight for a movie role, but this was extreme. While doing an interview with The Guardian, Bale explained that it wasn't the process of losing the weight that was hard, but the effect it had on him physically and emotionally. He said he was so skinny he could barely walk up a flight of stairs. He admitted that he felt like he completely abandoned his body. It was a roller coaster ride once he started adding food back into his stomach properly because it basically completely rejected it. He said the best thing he could do for himself was remind him that it's not what he actually looked like. He basically removes himself from his character and said during an interview, I quote, "It's helpful not to look like yourself. If I look in the mirror and go, that doesn't look like me, that's helpful." He was able to recover and bulk up in time for his role as Batman in Batman Begins. Starting off the list at number 10 is Calvin Harris. The 35-year-old DJ is a stud nonetheless and has been flaunting his now famous muscles. But he didn't always look like he does now. He was once a young musician with a questionable taste in clothing and box-dyed hair. But throughout the last decade, he has had a major transformation, which he says comes from being bullied when he was younger. Turns out he was bullied for his height. He is currently 6'5" and says that as a kid he was always the tallest person in the class. During an interview with The Sun, he said, "It was hard being the tallest person in the class, especially when you are a teenager. You want to keep your head down. You don't want people to look at you. It's only in the last 5 years that I have come to terms with the fact that I am a big, tall bastard." Obviously, his height hasn't changed, but his attitude has, and his more recent appearance. His wardrobe has upgraded. He's rocking the scruffy face and clean cut and colored hair, not to mention his new rockin' bod. He has been hitting the gym and it shows. At number 9 is Tom Hardy. This guy knows a thing or two when it comes to body transformations. He caked on pounds of muscle to play Bane in The Dark Knight Rises, and his Bane body has stuck with him since. He transformed himself entirely into one of the most physical and dominating villains of all time, adding over 30 pounds of muscle to his frame. And although he looks incredible, he's the first person to admit that the transformation wasn't easy. During an interview with the Daily Beast, he said, "I think you pay the price with any drastic physical changes. If I keep putting on weight, I will collapse like a house of cards under too much pressure." Probably true. His overall appearance changed with the role though. He got rid of all his facial hair, which drastically changes a guy's appearance, don't even lie. And he also rocked a bald head, which we weren't used to seeing on the actor. Regardless, he still looked like a babe. Apparently I'm just hitting on everyone on this list. Everyone on this list looks hot, apparently. Swiping the number 8 spot is Ariana Grande. Gotta be honest with you guys, looking back at old pictures of her, I would have never known that it was Ariana unless you told me. Before she was the pop sensation that we know her as today, she was starring as Kat Valentine on the Nickelodeon TV series Victorious. And boy, did she look different. On the show, she was rocking some bright red hair, which is enough to make her look completely different. But pictures have surfaced online when she was 16 years old and first auditioned for the show. She was rocking some eyeliner and her natural short brown hair. They dyed her hair for the show within the first 2 weeks because the producers didn't want the entire cast to be brunette. But even since her red hair days, she looks wildly different. Her lips are noticeably bigger, her hair is incredibly longer, and she is way more bronzed than ever before. People have actually accused the singer of blackfacing. After her Vogue cover was released earlier this year, people online said it looked like she was trying to represent a black woman. One Twitter user wrote, "Y'all remember when Ariana Grande wasn't performing blackface on The Daily? I mean, her appearance does look completely different than before, but I feel like accusing her of blackface is just a little too far. Like, I don't know if those are her intentions. What do you guys think? Is this a case of blackface? I want to hear from you. Tell me down in the comments." Coming into the number 7 spot is Jonah Hill. My brother had a serious glow up. I'm not being rude when I say that when he first came into Hollywood, he was a bigger guy. And because of his size, he was booking comedic roles that would fit both his size and personality. You know, like the fat friend. Not to be rude, it's just a fact. But he shocked everyone with his transformation in more recent years. Pictures started to surface online of him walking down the street and no one around him was even recognizing him. I don't blame them though. Honestly, if he walked by me looking like he does now, like, I wouldn't look twice. It wouldn't clue in and be like, oh my god, that's Jonah Hill, you know? The biggest transformation has been his weight. He first slimmed down for his role in 22 Jump Street back in 2014, but then he gained 40 pounds back for his 2016 role in War Dogs. His weight has fluctuated throughout the years, but he currently looks healthier than ever. But on top of the difference in his weight, he's also rocking some new glasses, a big bushy beard, and some arm tattoos. Can't say I ever pictured Jonah Hill with arm tattoos. Cruising into spot number 6 is Taylor Swift. She's actually one of the few celebrities in Hollywood to not go under the knife and completely change her look with plastic surgery, but she has grown up in front of the entire world and she no longer looks like the 16-year-old country singer that we were first introduced to. When we first met her, she was rocking country boots, blonde ringlets, an acoustic guitar, and all of her songs fell under the country category. But over the last decade, her music and looks both transformed into the pop mainstream. After her album released in 2012, she started to make her official transition into pop, but it still featured some country sound to it. But then her next album, 1989, was fully pop and shot up to the top of the Billboard Hot 100 charts, so we no longer saw her taking home any country awards. Nowadays, she chopped her hair short, the ringlets are gone, her style is more edgy, and her lyrics are very controversial, which I am personally all for. I like her transformation. To me, it's kind of cool to see her start out as a country artist and then completely change into the pop world. I know that not everyone was supportive of that whole change, but I'm on board with it. Halfway through the list at number 5 is James McAvoy. He's been in the industry for some time now, but he grabbed everyone's attention when he took on the lead role in the movie Split. In the movie, we saw a bald, thick, jacked, badass looking dude who could climb up walls like a spider monkey. But if you look back on older pictures, you would have a harder time recognizing him. He used to be a thin guy with a full head of hair who dressed like he was Mr. Rogers. No offense, man. But in order for him to take on the role of a real monster, he had to put on some weight and change his overall look. During an interview, he shared his transformation process and said that when he was bulking up for Split, he was on an extremely tight schedule. He only had a short period of time and said that he did powerlifting 5 days a week and ate a lot of protein. Instead of eating 2 eggs in the morning like normal people would eat, he said that he would eat 8. The transformation has stuck with him because after Split was done and over with, he was prepping for the sequel, Glass, where he was going to be head to head with Bruce Willis and needed to bulk up even more. It's a really impressive transformation. I think I just assumed that this is what he always looked like because his frame is just so much bigger now, but it still looks natural. You know, like he doesn't look like he's on steroids, it looks like he's just like a bigger dude. Here we are at number 4 with the one and only Kim Kardashian. Before she became a household name back in 2006, she was known for being the best friend of the it girl at the time, Paris Hilton. Now let me tell you, she looked a lot different back then compared to now. After her tape was released in 2007, she started to rise to fame, and that was when her transformation slowly started to happen. First it was her lips, then it was her breasts, then the rest of her face, then her body, then her booty. Basically her entire appearance has changed, and thankfully her style too, because girl, some of those red carpet looks were a hot mess. minus the hot. She even dabbled in some hair dye at one point and went to a honey blonde color. Overall, she is rocking a completely new face and body, although she likes to insist that a lot of it is real, but the proof is in the pudding. She looks nothing like she used to when she was actually her natural self. Alright guys, in the third spot we have Josh Peck, but you would better know him just as Josh from the hit TV series Drake and Josh. He took the lead role on the show from 2004 to 2007 and people fell in love with his goofy character. He was just 17 years old when he played the title character and he looked a lot different with his curly brown hair, plaid shirts, and chubby frame. Nonetheless, he was a cutie. But along the way his looks started to drastically change. For one, he grew up, which probably had something to do with it, but his style started to change and so did his hair. At one point, he even grew out his hair and straightened it, looking like some sort of Green Day band member or some shit. But after that phase was over, he cut his hair, grew a beard, and got fit. He is no longer the chubby teen or the Green Day wannabe, he is now a 33-year-old DILF. Yes, that is right, he is a hot dad and he has a son named Max. And yes, he is married, so I should probably stop talking about him that way. Filling in our number 2 spot is Amanda Bynes. She was one of Hollywood's biggest stars, and between The Amanda Show, She's the Man, and What a Girl Wants, nobody did it better than her. Her career officially started back in 1998, and she quickly became a huge child star, being the youngest cast member on the show, all that. From there, she became a Nickelodeon starlet, and then began her own career when she did her debut feature film in 2003, What a Girl Wants. She's always been a beautiful girl, not to mention her hilarious personality and incredible talent. At first, she just had some minor changes throughout the years, different hair colors, style changes, minor lip fillers, but in 2012 trouble hit when she was first arrested several times for driving under the influence. That seems to be when her transformation really began. She wore these crazy wigs, got piercings in her cheeks, got some tattoos. Now, she's openly talked about her struggles with drugs and depression, so her transformation makes more sense when you know the backstory of what she was going through during that time. She is currently rocking both blue and pink hair and a septum nose ring, according to her new Instagram page. Taking the number 1 spot is Caitlyn Jenner. Now before I get started, this in no way is to bash her transformation or poke fun at it. It just was the biggest transformation of the decade and one that I personally am in full support of. Back in April 2015, Bruce Jenner officially came out as a trans woman and publicly announced in July that her name was going to legally be changed to Caitlyn. The overall transformation from Bruce to Caitlyn was such a big deal because the world knew Bruce as this strong male athlete who competed in the Olympics. So of course, the drastic change was shocking to a lot of people. Not to mention, we were so used to seeing him as Bruce on the reality show Keeping Up with the Kardashians, where he was the father of the Kardashian and Jenner girls, as well as Kris Jenner's husband. But the transformation also had a very positive impact on the LGBTQ community. Bruce was 65 years old when he came out with his transition, and he did it in front of the entire world, which has encouraged others to feel comfortable with their own transitions and personal timelines.
In at number 10, Jake Gyllenhaal. When Jake Gyllenhaal picked up the script for Louis Bloom in Nightcrawler, he was excited to take on the role. It's about a con man desperate for work that muscles his way into the world of LA crime journalism, although the lines start to blur between observer and becoming the star of his own story. In preparation for the role, Jake decided to transform his body by dropping 25 to 30 pounds. Although writer and director Dan Gilroy said that the weight loss was entirely Jake's idea. Dan told IndieWire he would ride his bike 15 miles to the set or run 10 miles to the set, and then he would have a kale salad. I think he was on 1/3 of the caloric intake, so when we're watching him, he's got this weird energy. I feel sometimes when he's in the car with co-star Riz that he's going to eat him. In at number 9, Natalie Portman. In order to fit into her role as a ballerina in Black Swan, Natalie Portman had to endure a punishing schedule. She lost at least 20 pounds by only eating carrots and almonds. Plus, she then had to spend 8 hours a day in rehearsals for the film. Following this extreme body transformation, Portman told Entertainment Weekly that the film left her physically and emotionally drained. Although this is the role where she met her husband Benjamin and began to realize just how wrapped up she could be in a role that could take you down. It was more than just the weight loss that she endured though. Along with not having enough energy to balance properly, you are especially prone to injuries. The most famous was her rib injury that occurred on set and was actually included into the film. In at number 8, Anne Hathaway. While gracing the cover of Vogue magazine back in December 2017, she opened up about how intense her diet was to take on the role of Fantine in Les Miserables, along with chopping off her hair and dropped 25 pounds, and the big rumor was that she was on an extreme crash diet, which meant that she was eating less than 500 calories a day to lose weight faster, and told Vogue that she became obsessed with fulfilling the character of Fantine to the max. Although she admits that it definitely took its toll, and Anne said, "I was in such a state of deprivation, physical and emotional, when I got home I couldn't react to the chaos of the world without being overwhelmed. It took me weeks until I felt like myself again." This really proved that she is extremely committed to the craft, but she definitely appreciated having her husband there to help her through those grueling months. In at number 7, Matt Damon. Matt Damon has gone through multiple body transformations for movie roles, tackling the task of losing and gaining weight as well. In 1996, he drastically changed his appearance for the film Courage Under Fire. Damon had to cut 60 pounds in a very short period of time, and to do so he ran 13 miles a day, although he said the hardest part was just only eating chicken. In 2009, Matt took on the lead role in the film The Informant, but he needed to gain an extra 30 pounds this time. Although this time around it was a lot more fun for Damon, who said that he basically just ate everything he wanted to for a few months. The movie Informant tells the true story of Mark Whitaker, an executive of the mega corporation Archer Daniels Midland, who became an overly enthusiastic FBI mole, caught up in an elaborate sting against the corn industry for, well, price fixing. In at number 6, Renee Zellweger. For whatever reason, when Renee gained weight to take on her role in Bridget Jones's Diary, she was heavily criticized for doing this. The character from the first 2 novels weighs in at around 130 pounds, but Renee tacked on 30 pounds to her previous weight in order to take on the role. At the time of her weight gain, it was a massive story in Hollywood. During an interview she gave in 2003, she said that she had given up on exercising before filming and admitted that she was only eating really fatty foods. It's really strange though that she took so much heat for this, considering the amount of male actors that put on weight and take it off no problem. For Renee, she was even criticized for when she lost the weight. Then the conversation in the press became about how she was all of a sudden too thin. It really has a lot to do with labels that society puts on females that gain weight and lose weight. Like, for men, you're either jacked, skinny, or have a dad bod. For women though, they have all of these differing labels like curvy, plump, plus size. I understand that perhaps people criticized her for putting on the weight and taking it off because they believe that there is nothing wrong with being plus size, which there isn't. Although when it really comes down to it, she only changed her weight to transform her body to be more believable for this movie role, not for any other reason. In at number 5, Jonah Hill. Jonah Hill's weight has certainly fluctuated over the years, going from both full figure to extremely lean. I guess guys do have 2 other ways to describe weight. He really slimmed down though for the action comedy film 22 Jump Street back in 2014. Although when it came time to play the role of the real-life arms dealer in War Dogs, he packed on an extra 40 pounds. Typically Jonah Hill walks around with a more slender frame, but now that he understands how to safely take off and put on weight, he's leveraged this to his benefit. We all first met Jonah Hill back in his Superbad days, and compared to his burly physique back then, he looks almost unrecognizable as an adult. And I know it's not a movie role, but Jonah really transformed his body in the Netflix miniseries called Maniac, and much like I said earlier, he looks completely unrecognizable, although it could also be his braids. In at number 4, Michael Fassbender. Back in 2008, Michael Fassbender dropped an insane amount of weight to take on the role of Bobby Sands in Hunger. Michael lost 42 pounds to play the young prisoner who led the Second Provisional Irish Republican Army hunger strike back in 1981. Bobby died after 66 days with no food, and off-screen, Fassbender was doing everything possible to properly portray that role. He only ate 900 calories a day, plus he would constantly be skipping, doing yoga, and just going for long walks. When reflecting on the process though, Fassbender said that it was like living in a psychological prison. His final weight before filming was a staggering 127 pounds. He was losing the weight in a semi-safe way by just limiting his daily calories than what his body required, but he definitely took fasting to the extreme to cut down in time. In at number 3, Chris Pratt. Much like Jonah Hill, Chris Pratt has also been known to fluctuate his weight in order to fit into certain roles. When it came time to play his more comedic character for Parks and Recreation, he definitely packed on some pounds. Although when it came time to preparing for roles like Zero Dark 30 and Guardians of the Galaxy, he needed to add on much more muscle. While speaking with Conan O'Brien about his body transformation, Chris said, "I've always been a little soft. I like to eat and I don't like crunches. I had about 5 or 6 months and I really busted my ass to get in good shape." He also admitted though that his abs were very short-lived at the time because almost immediately after he wrapped up with Zero Dark 30, he needed to pack on the weight again. This time he added 60 pounds for his role as Brett in the Vince Vaughn film called Delivery Man. In at number 2, Russell Crowe. For the movie called Body of Lies, Russell Crowe completely transformed his body by packing on an extra 63 pounds of weight. Compared to his time as Maximus in Gladiator, he looks so different as Ed Hoffman in Body of Lies. He looked so different that people actually thought that he was wearing a fat suit. And in preparation for this role, director Ridley Scott called him up and personally asked the actor to transform his body for this part. Ridley asked if he would mind putting on a significant amount of weight because he saw the character as this ex-athlete that had just let himself go. Although when speaking about what it took to get ready, he said that he would happily do it all over again. Russell said that bulking up was a pleasure because he could eat a cheeseburger for breakfast and no one would say anything. He did say that he avoided drinking alcohol in order to gain the weight because of his kids, and at least that's some good foresight on his part. Last but certainly not least, on our number one spot, 50 Cent. 50 Cent absolutely set the internet on fire when he posted about his extreme weight loss while filming the movie called Things Fall Apart. The film was a tribute to a friend of his who had died from cancer, and in preparation for the role, 50 Cent went from 214 pounds to 160 in just 9 weeks by working out 3 hours a day and only consuming liquids. He was so into what he was doing and wanting to accurately portray his friend who had been going through this cancer that he completely let himself go. This photo was taken during the second half of the film's production. His manager even had to tell him to go see a doctor because he was so worried about his health. To make matters even more complicated, 50 Cent had so much muscle on him that he found it difficult to lose definition even as he got slimmer. Many compared his weight loss to that of like Christian Bale and The Machinist, but 50 knew that there was no other way to play this role than to fully commit himself.